What's up, everyone? It's Cody with MoneyVest. So markets here pushing higher a little bit. So technical rebound is in full swing back higher. Tomorrow is the very, very important Fed meeting. So Jerome Powell is going to be giving a speech at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. I will be live to cover that speech. And of course, at 2 p.m. Eastern, we're going to get the statement, which obviously is going to be very important because 98% probability right now the Federal Reserve is going to hold rates steady and they're not going to raise rates anymore. That's what the market is expecting. So hope you guys enjoyed this video and a complete update. We are waiting on AMD's earnings. I've got the news piece coming in right in me. As soon as I get the numbers, I'm gonna call them out, and we can also take a look at them on CNBC as soon as they are released. And right now, AMD is more or less flat at the moment, so we haven't gotten them. I think in a couple minutes they are going to release those numbers. So again, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Find it helpful. If you do, make sure that you drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Link to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below. We'd love to have you on board. Again, tonight after midnight, there's two things that expire that I want you to take advantage of if you really wish to be a part of our MoneyVest community. The first one's obviously going to be the Discord and the Patreon, 16% off on an annual basis for the Investor Early Bird. And also the educational courses, individual courses are going to be 50% off. So I've got this two lines over here. Don't let the market scare you from investing this Halloween. So coupon code is going to be Halloween if you want to take advantage of that. And the bundle, which is all the courses included, is going to be 60% off. So coupon code again, Halloween, if you want to take advantage of that. Both of these do expire after midnight tonight. So just a few more hours left if you want to take advantage of that. And the 16% annual discount on Discord also does expire later tonight. And I'm going to be sharing the updated and new intrinsic value spreadsheet with all the members, so you can track all the stocks and track all the intrinsic values and the risks. And I'm also going to include the technical support and resistance levels for everyone to follow along with that as well. So these are the earnings. AMD is going to be reporting after the bell here, which we haven't quite seen. Still up over 39 basis points, so not a lot of move happening after hours. So earnings are still yet to come for Advanced Micro Devices, so awaiting AMD results here. They're going to be reporting Paycom is down, I think, 20%. First Solar is also not looking good, FSLR. So they are down about 1.3%, and Paycom is the one that's definitely selling off a little bit over 24% now after the earnings. And I will take a look at these companies, in a more detailed, more specific videos. But for now, we're going to keep our focus on the market updates, of course, and basically break down the technical rebound that we're seeing for S&P and the NASDAQ. So tomorrow, of course, we've got PayPal. We've also got the Jerome Powell speech tomorrow. So tomorrow's going to be a very important day. Not to mention Thursday, we've got Apple, we got Fortinet, Starbucks, Eli Lilly, Palantir, and Shopify also reporting, as well as Novo Nordisk. So there's a lot of companies reporting, and the unemployment numbers also come out this Friday. So there's going to be a packed week. I mean, first couple days, very, very slow, very, very, reasonable, like up 0.25%, 0.3%, but the next 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, is really when things start in full gear here with the Fed meeting, with earnings, with unemployment, Joel's numbers. So it's just going to be all over the place. So markets on the day pushing higher very nicely. Tesla rebounding a little bit. So we got Amazon, Apple, Microsoft more or less flat. Google, Meta, and NVDA is still down on the day, with Eli Lilly, Amgen also selling off here. So you'll notice that, more broadly speaking, more Dow Jones stocks were higher. Tech was more or less flat or slightly down. So real estate definitely did well. I actually picked up a REIT today. I bought close to $10,000 worth of REIT, one specific one. So if you want to get alerts and find out exactly what I bought, link's going to be down below if you want to join. But healthcare pushing higher, technology, industrial, financial, cyclicals, all of those pushing higher. In the last 1 week, we've got, again, utilities being the best performer, communication services, healthcare, energy, they're all down on the back of Google and Meta earnings. And of course, over the last 1 month, utilities is the one that's leading. And it's actually quite interesting, right? I mean, because if you do see a recession, right? If you do see the economy contract in the upcoming months, I mean, utilities are basically recession-proof, or even defensive for that matter. So you'll notice consumer defensive, the second best performing sector in the last 1 month, definitely does suggest that markets rotating a little bit out of tech, out of cyclicals, out of services, comm services, and moving over to defensive and utilities, right? So that could be signaling a little bit of something here from the market perspective as well. Natural gas was higher, coffee prices pushing up, volatility was down, orange juice selling off. You got oats, cotton prices, silver, all of them pulling back as well, with Bitcoin just a little bit over 34,500 and Ether just over 1,800 as well. So we're going to reload, see if you actually, the numbers were just coming up and I missed it. So AMD here down 3.2%. We're just going to take a quick look on these numbers, see if they have already arrived. Not quite yet. They're just taking a break here. But it does look like the numbers are here. And stock is selling off a little bit over 3% at the moment. I'll post the numbers in the comment section down below. But going over to the S&P 500, nice move up, 65 basis points, a little bit under 4,200. But this right here is the overall downtrend, right? So lower highs and lower lows. So you can see that we are still within the context of this pattern. And if you do see a momentum back up, this is going to be that lower high sitting roughly at around 43.70. So we've got a very important resistance sitting right over there at 43.75, close to 4,400, because not only is going to be that in line with that lower high, but also that previous resistance where we got rejected back in the middle of October. Talking about the NASDAQ, same exact story. So we are still very much in the context of, this downtrend, making lower highs and lower lows, unfortunately. So if you do see that rally back up or a little bit of a technical rebound, 13,100 is going to be that first level, all the way up to as much as 13,600. So those right there are going to be a couple levels to watch for the NASDAQ. And of course, right now, we're very much in this downtrend at the moment. So it's possible that, okay, tomorrow the Fed meeting, I've already gone over the expectations and what the Federal Reserve is going to report in terms of what the probabilities are and what he may say, Jerome Powell may say, and how the market might interpret whatever he says, and that's going to be a market moving event. So if you do see a rally back up, again, 13,100 to as much as 13,700, some levels to watch on the NASDAQ, and S&P 500, of course, got a resistance all the way up to 43.75 to as much as 4,400 at the moment as well. So going over to crude oil prices, now they have been selling off. Now we are at $81 a barrel, so we've definitely been making these lower highs at the moment. So just going to reload this, see if you have anything coming up. So lower highs coming in, so a little bit of a descending triangle with a support sitting roughly at $80 a barrel for, there we go, AMD issues lower than expected fourth quarter revenue outlook. So definitely a miss on guidance, it seems, but I think they may have beaten on EPS and or revenue. So well, again, I'll post those numbers as soon as they become available in the comments. I'm doing this literally live right now, recording it while the numbers are coming out. It's a little bit difficult, but crude oil prices definitely with the lower high and a little bit of a descending triangle. Support level is going to be at close to $81 per share. So if you do see a little bit of breakdown here, support level is going to be next at $73, $74 per barrel for crude. Bitcoin here pushing up 34,600, so a little bit of consolidation sideways. So again, very nice breakout to the upside. Next target and resistance pretty much at 47, 48,000, and massive support sitting at $32,000, $33,000. Talking about Ether, just over 1,800 right now. Resistance all the way up to 2,100. So 2,100 is going to be that resistance for Ethereum. And right now we're seeing a lot of consolidation and a very nice potential move to the upside and a breakout back higher. So coming back over to volatility, I want to specifically touch on this because we know that when the VIX gets higher, it's time to buy. When the VIX gets low, it's time to go. And right now, we're obviously just a little bit over 23 right now for the VIX. So gross margin outlook in line for advanced micro devices. Let's just go back a little bit, see if we can find those. Oh, there we go. AMD beat on revenue, $5.8 billion. And issues a lower than expected fourth quarter revenue outlook. So that, again, is the reason why AMD is most certainly going to be selling off. There we go. 4.5% on weaker guidance. And guidance is very, very important for any stock. Obviously, that's what Wall Street specifically focuses on, is the guidance from any company, right? All right, everyone, so I've got the numbers open right over here. So this is going to be the numbers for advanced micro devices. Now, on a GAAP basis, which, again, is taking out the Xilinx acquisition, right? So on a GAAP quarterly basis, net income did grow quite substantially, up 353%. But that, again, is basically accounting for the Xilinx acquisition from the previous quarters. So 27 million in the second quarter 2023, and that's from that quarter is up 1,000%. But on a non-GAAP basis, when we normalize those things and take those non-cash expenses and put them back in, and $1.1 billion is basically that number, and it's up 20% quarter over quarter and up 4% on a year-over-year basis, and revenue coming in at $5.8 billion, up 4 to 8% on a year-over-year basis and quarter-over-quarter basis as well for the company. Now, in terms of forecast, so let's just see, or let's do fourth quarter. Let's see. Okay, so we executed well in the third quarter, delivering year-over-year growth in revenue, gross margin, and earnings per share. In the fourth quarter, we expect to see strong growth in data center and continued momentum in client, partially offsetting by lower sales in gaming segment. Now, gaming has definitely been a big problematic for AMD over the last couple of quarters, and additional softening of demand in the embedded markets as well, which I'm pretty sure Wall Street did not like. And if we go over, so for fourth quarter 2023, AMD expects revenue to be approximately $6.1 billion, plus or minus $300 million, and the midpoint of the revenue range. This represents year-over-year growth of approximately 9% and a sequential growth of 5%, with non-GAAP gross margin sitting at just over 51.5% as well. So I will do a more specific, more detailed analysis on AMD and all these earnings, but unfortunately it is down a little bit over 4.5%. I think the numbers were good, and guidance still suggests for growth here, but obviously it's lower than what Wall Street expected the guidance to be, and as a result, it is obviously selling off a little bit. So there are some of the news that's hitting the wire right now. So again, at low $80 is really where the price I'm looking for advanced micro devices from an intrinsic value, fair value standpoint. So that would be the level that I would be paying attention to for AMD in the weeks to follow after the earnings. Going over to Apple, and Apple here also pushing higher a little bit. So these are not the charts. These are the charts. And you'll notice Apple here still very much in this downtrend or falling wedge pattern where we are making these lower highs and lower lows. Resistance is going to stay put at roughly around 172 all the way up to as much as 180. So those right there are going to be some levels to watch for Apple. Decent rebound, and again, something that we talked about and discussed in our previous videos as well. So I think it's very normal for us to see a bit of a pushback higher. Resistance, like I said, 172 all the way up to $180. Talking about Amazon also pushing higher very nicely. It's coming up to that resistance now at 133, 134. Right now sitting at just over 133. So that is going to be that next resistance and that target level to watch. We are now starting to break outside of this falling wedge, so that is pretty good, or this downtrending channel, I should say. And resistance, like I said, close to 134 for Amazon. Tesla, on the other hand, getting a little bit of a rebound, and that's normal, right? After a breakdown, stocks actually do go back higher to retest that old support as a resistance. So I just want to clarify that just because it's pushing past over $200 again, and it's now trading at just over $200 on the day, and that's where it closed, doesn't mean that it's done, that it doesn't mean that we're finally out of the woods and we're going to start moving back higher. It is possible, though, considering how oversold Tesla is, like from a technical perspective, RSI under 30, MACD has been really low, and the price action has been incredibly weak. So it's possible that yes, we do see a bit of a technical rebound, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we are going to start moving back higher, back up to all-time highs, or start breaking out of those resistance levels. But the first thing to really focus on here is going to be this $210, $212 level for Tesla. That's the first level it needs to break out of. Now, NVIDIA was quite an interesting day. It actually broke down below 400. It actually came down to as low as $392 per share, but then quickly got bought up with the NVIDIA buyers stepping back in. But it does look pretty weak, doesn't it? NVIDIA, I'm not gonna lie, does look a little weak. It's down 68 basis points after hours after the AMD earnings, and resistance is going to be all the way up here at close to $475 to $500 per share. And right now, again, very much in this consolidation pattern, sideways for NVIDIA as well. AMD we already went over, but again, next support is really going to be at $80, $81 per share. Although in the meantime, there's also some reasonable support here. We'll find out tomorrow if it gets bought up from these levels or if it accelerates that sell-off even further. I think, to be honest, just from a earnings beat and revenue beat, guidance slightly lower, I think just from this early reaction that I have, the numbers aren't that bad at all. It just, again, Wall Street has these consensus in place. So if a company misses those expectations even slightly, we know what happens. The stock sells off. That's what happened with Google, right? Google came out with phenomenal numbers and the stock sold off 9% the following day because the entire market was really, really brutal. And of course, it was knocking over a lot of tech and innovation stocks. So I wouldn't be surprised if AMD, considering the type of market that we're in, if it accelerates that sell-off to 6, 7, 8% tomorrow, considering just the nature of the market and how Wall Street's becoming a little bit more risk averse, considering where yields currently are. Going over to PayPal right now. So PayPal pushing higher. PayPal is tomorrow, so they are going to be reporting earnings. And I don't think any company's earnings have been this important. I think PayPal's earnings are probably going to be the most important earnings ever, because whoever's left in the stock, really, let's just put it this way. Whoever's left in PayPal is really just hoping that they come out with some decent earnings and they actually report some good vision and some good goals and objectives for the company. Because if they can't do that tomorrow, then the last investors who are holding on to this stock are just going to pretty much give up and capitulate. And the irony is that actually is usually the best time when the last seller basically capitulates and the selling pressure exhausts itself. That's usually the time to be looking at buying opportunities. And of course, PayPal's valuation has completely compressed down to such low levels, even though the cash flows and the revenues have been pretty good. And so for that reason, even whatever happens yesterday, of course, unless it's like pretty disastrous and we're looking at like really significant slowdowns in revenues and margins and users, if they can report some good numbers, beats on EPS, beats on revenues, strong guidance, basically reiterating guidance or maybe even raising guidance, man, I would be looking at dollar cost averaging at these valuations, because PayPal, like I said, is a global payment platform. I recently switched everything from Payoneer over to PayPal. Most of my businesses run on PayPal, and it's a platform that I'm just so used to, and it's a very easy to use platform, and their customer support team is fantastic. Never had any issues, knock on wood. So I don't understand how PayPal can. Well, I guess there is an argument how there's better alternatives and there's competitors out there that are now showing up, but nobody is as global, I would say, as PayPal, right? I mean, PayPal's had a long-standing history of trust, of security, of just a lot of different features that they offer that puts this brand far up and above a lot of the other competitors. But I understand where the thesis is coming from, that the competition is getting more and more fierce, and that's going to drive PayPal out of business or make it more irrelevant. But the numbers haven't shown that yet. But again, we'll find out tomorrow. Talking about Visa, and Visa here on the day pushing higher up over 87 basis points. So, pretty reasonable recovery back up from this support. Neckline is sitting roughly around $229, $230. And that next resistance is going to be all the way up to $250 for Visa. And like I said, support level is going to stay put right here. If you do end up breaking down below this level, the next support is going to be all the way down to as low as $210, $211 per share for this company. Talking about Meta platforms, and Meta here just consolidating sideways, so not really moving anywhere, so $300 per share. Lots of consolidation sideways. Support level is going to stay put at $275, with the resistance all the way up to $310 and $312 per share for Meta. So just going back and forth right now in that range. Netflix here, on the other hand, also consolidating sideways. Resistance is going to be staying put at 452. Support level is going to stay put at $348 per share. So a lot of consolidation sideways for Netflix as well. So this right here is pretty much the range. The support right here, resistance right here, and a much broader support sitting roughly down at 340 and 50 for Netflix. Talking about Google. And Google here, you'll notice it was in a rising wedge pattern, then it broke down, then it's tried to recover, got rejected at that resistance, earnings came out, got hit twice, and then of course sold right back down. And right now we've got a big resistance sitting at 126, got rejected at 126.56 on the day today, and support level is going to stay put down to $117 per share. Microsoft, on the other hand, also struggling at this resistance. 340 is going to be that level to watch, with its support sitting roughly at 310. Again, lots of consolidation sideways for Microsoft as well, and we've got an all-time high sitting at 386 or 366, excuse me, for Microsoft. So right now we're coming up to that resistance, and tomorrow's Fed meeting is really what's going to dictate whether we get a breakout or a rejection for Microsoft. And finally, we got Enphase and Costco. So Costco on the day just consolidating sideways. So Costco's chart is actually going to be over here. So again, just consolidating sideways. We got a resistance sitting all the way up to as much as 573. Support level is going to sit at 531, and we're basically just going sideways at the moment. So it's got a nice little range within which it's been trading. Enphase on the day up over 1.17%, so pushing higher a little bit, although incredibly oversold, and at support at 79, close to $80 per share for Enphase at the moment as well. And we've got a couple gaps to fill for Enphase, one from SolarEdge, one from the company itself. Resistance all the way up to 92 to as much as $108 per share. So hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, make sure you drop a like. Don't forget, we've got a couple discounts expiring tonight after midnight. So 50% off all individual courses, coupon code Halloween. And the bundles also 60% off, coupon code Halloween, expires tonight. And the 16% annual discount also available for the Patreon, and the Discord also expires tonight. As always, happy investing. I'll see you all in the next video.